Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the People's Choice Podcast. And I'm here with a very, very special guest. This is a woman who's been following the podcast for a while, a woman that I've been talking to for a very long time as well. She's a big fan of the show, and I'm a big fan of her. She has an amazing voice. I mean, once you hear her songs, I mean, they just have a way of just grabbing you and like just keeping a hold of you. Like, oh my God, is that like an angel that's singing? Like, it's like, she is very talented. Like, I am just so honored to have you on the show. We're going to talk about your new singles. We're going to talk about your EP. We're going to talk about just you, and for all my peeps to get to know you better. So Laura Mena.
Shining like a pearl, you would diamond. If I could give you the world, I would try it. If I could buy you every ring, I would buy it. Once upon a time, boy, you got it. Shining like a pearl, you a diamond. If I could give you the world, I would try it. If I could buy you every ring, I would buy it. Beauty in the eye of the beholder. Don't know, but I think you got my shoulder. Don't know, but I think I got a hold. That's not my love. That's not your call. Just a lesson I've learned. Just a lesson I've learned. Just a lesson I've learned. Did you hear me good?
Laura Mena, I'm so honored to have you on the show, though, for real. And thank you for taking the time to be here with me.
I'm honored to have you. No, I'm honored to be on the show as well. I feel like we're in a goofy mood right off the bat, but that's fine. We'll get the job done anyways.
Yeah, and I'm just want to let you know that you're making People's Choice Podcast history. You're my first guest all the way from Denmark, so this is really a big honor for me as I try to take over the world one day as like this great podcaster.
You know, I'm very happy to help you take over the world slowly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had guests from Denmark, Canada, Philippines, Italy, Moldova. So yeah, I'm slowly taking over.
Yeah.
Before you know it, everybody's gonna know who Alvin Peoples and the People's Choice Podcast is.
Right.
So Laura, let's start from the beginning. I always love to ask my guests, like where were they born? What was it like growing up there? And I know you're born in Denmark, but you speak on your hometown. What was it like growing up there?
So it was very difficult growing up for me because I have a Danish father and an Afro Cuban mom. So I instantly was different from the other kids. I looked different and I had different interests. I started off actually not being interested in music, but theater and films and movies. So that's why it's also I'm still interested in it. And a lot of people were just non-creative there and a little bit, or not a little bit, but a lot ignorant. So it was very hard to find my place. Even though I consider myself Danish, I've always felt like I wasn't welcome in my own country, which is really sad for a child to feel that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that was like what I felt like when I grew up in my hometown in Jutland, which is where I was raised. I lived there from I was 2 years old to 15, and then I came back to Zealand where I'm actually born. And it's been a lot. Life has been, full of ups and downs, but it's gone a lot up since I moved here again. So I'm very happy to be I'm very blessed to be at the place that I am right now.
Yes, definitely. You're extremely blessed. And like I talk about, extremely talented too, because like I've known you're welcome. I know you've been playing and singing, music for a very long time at a really early age. So like, did you know at an early age that you was, going to pursue music, or was it something that came later on in life?
Well, it's something that's always been a part of my life because my dad is also a musician. So he would just take out the guitar and play some of his own songs for me and my brother, and we would always go on YouTube and switch with picking different songs. Then I would pick something Beyonce, and my dad would pick Bruce Springsteen, and my brother would pick Michael Jackson, and we would always like
some great choices right there.
Yeah, it is some great choices. And so I've always been surrounded by music, but I actually didn't start writing and singing until I was 17. Like for real. Like I've been in school choirs and stuff like that, but like solo singing and writing music didn't start until I was 17.
Awesome. And at what moment did you realize that you wanted to pursue music like as a career? Because we all have those moments where like we'll do something like I've done football, and never really in my mind that I think I was going to go pro, but I did like it.
Yeah.
So like at what moment was it where like did it hit you where you're like, I have to go for this?
I actually have a very like specific moment. So the way I started writing was actually when I was hospitalized for the second time. I have a very rare mental illness called catatonic schizophrenia. And I was hospitalized, and I was just trying to cope with everything that was going on around me and inside of me. So I asked for a piece of paper and some pen, and was like just pouring my heart out, writing my emotions out. And then I gave those papers to my dad, and he came back to me and was like, Laura, you're writing lyrics. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I've made it into a song. You're writing lyrics. You could do this. And that was when I realized I could become a writer. But when I realized I could become like a singer was after, because I didn't believe I had a good enough voice. And that's why it's like, it's really heartwarming when you compliment me like that, because I really didn't believe I was good enough.
Are you serious? Wow, you
serious.
really have the voice of an angel. Like that is awesome. I'm glad that I could, give you that, boost and confidence.
It means so much when people say that to me, because I know that at least when it comes from you, I know it's genuine. I know it's heartfelt, and I know it's, it means a lot to me. But what I was trying to do was actually to find another songstress to sing my songs. And I would send out a demo. How do you say that? Demo?
Yep, demo, yep.
Demo, right, yeah. To a bunch of other people I knew that could sing, and some professionals and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And people were just like, why don't you just do it yourself? Like, you have a good voice. Why don't you just do it yourself? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay. And a lot of people said that. I was like, okay, if I just focus on training and rehearsing until I actually like my own voice, mm-hmm. I can do this. So I saved my money up for to slowly build a home studio. So first I just had a mic and some headphones and a really cheap software program to like record my music in. And I found an American producer that wanted to work with me through an app called Vamper, which I had no idea existed, but it's like Tinder, but for musicians, where you can say, what? It's literally like that.
Like Tinder, but for musicians. It's cool.
Yeah. It's it's where if you're a producer, you say what you're looking for. If you're looking for an R&B singer, or if you're looking for someone to write lyrics to some of your songs. And I was, a singer looking for a producer, and I found someone that made the first 4 songs. I made the first 4 songs with him. His name is Mark Sealing. He's a very talented producer. And then I just slowly built up my home studio. So at this point, it's a lot more advanced than when I started out in 2021. Actually, I think I started out in 2021 in spring with releasing music, and the very first single I came out with actually got played on BBC Manchester Introducing, awesome. which I was so blown away, because it was my first single, and I had no idea what to expect, of like response from other people. So that was like, I think that was also another milestone where I was like, I can do this. And there's constantly, you're constantly growing, but you're also constantly kind of doubting yourself when you're an independent artist. Is this really what I want to do? Is this really something I can live off of in the end? And I know you probably sometimes feel the same with your podcast because, you know, you can get a little bit in your own head about it.
100%.
Yeah, you really can. You can get
100%.
so much in your head about it.
It's the peeps, so I call my audience, you know, the support that I get that keeps me going. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, a lot of battles in your head.
Right, it is. It's so tough, and sometimes it feels like you're fighting your own mind in a way because you want to be great, but then there's so many can be insecurities or doubts or anything like that, and then that you just need. I think people don't realize how much it means when they actually support you and when they compliment you just a little bit. Like it can really give you that extra push to keep going.
Yes,
so you keep on going.
That's so true. And I remember there was actually a couple times, like I feel like I'm really hitting my stride these last 5 months as a podcaster. But there was times early on, like I would interview people and damn near freeze, like everything's good, and I hit record and I'm like frozen. I'm nervous because I'm just like in my own mind, like I can't believe I'm interviewing, like, let's say Darren Charles, a guy who played in the NFL, like as a wide receiver, and you know, as an actor and producer. And I interviewed like other like filmmakers, and that's award-winning filmmakers and things. And I remember just saying to myself sometimes, like, man, maybe I'm not ready for this. I hope I don't embarrass myself or make them look like, you know, it's. And a lot of times, like, just gotta breathe. And then sometimes they will even say something that was just encouraging to me. Like when I do my introduction, and they'll say something where it's like, you know, they're like, oh, I've been watching your show. You are really good. And oh, really? You know, you start standing up straight. And then, you know, the voice gets a little louder and then you're more animated, you know. So that's very important.
It is. It's crucial to like growing when you're at the beginning stages, at least. No, I think it's always crucial, but especially in the beginning, you really need those pushes.
Definitely. And I want to talk about, like, when we talked off camera about representation and being a role model and an advocate. I know you said growing up was hard, especially, you know, when you're not accepted and wanted. And I've been through that as well, growing up in Woodbury, Connecticut. Like, you know, there's blacks but there's a lot of like whites that didn't accept me. Then there was some that did, but you don't. It's a weird feeling when you're not wanted or accepted. You know, you deal with racism or anything like that. And you made a really inspirational post just a couple months back that I remember you really started talking a lot about. And let's go in depth, you know, with that, and want to be that advocate, role model for many people of color, and you know, that look up to you.
So the post you're talking about, I remember very clearly because I was going through a phase where I was working on my next single, which we'll also be talking about, where I was thinking a lot about the experiences I had as a child. And I was thinking a lot about how I was made to feel about my hair and about my looks just because of my race, and just because of literally something as simple as somebody's hair texture, which shouldn't matter. And if it should matter, it should be celebrated and not looked down upon. So basically what I said in that video is that I can't believe I ever thought that my hair was ugly, because like, look at all this. It's beautiful, right? Like,
beautiful natural curls.
Exactly. So all those times where I wished I had straight hair, all those moments where I was bullied because of it, I really wanted to take all that pain I was feeling and make, like you said, an inspirational video for other people, and say that, because I know there are people that are still going through that don't necessarily have the confidence yet in themselves. And I really want people to know that even though they have those experiences, they can still end up on the other side of it. They can still end up being, you know, celebratory of their difference. Like, they can still end up embracing what was shamed about them. And I really want to not only represent, you know, the Afro-Latina community, but also we talked about how Kehlani has been a huge influence on me as well as a queer woman, and how I want to do the same thing for, you know, the generation that I represent. because it's so important to have those role models, because I don't think I would have had the courage to start wearing my hair natural or to come out to my family and friends if it hadn't been for people like Kehlani. So I really think it's important when you start to gain a platform like I'm doing right now to advocate for acceptance and advocate for self-love and advocate for personal growth in a healthy way.
Yes, 100%. And you
Yeah.
remind me a lot of my sister. That's so cool. And she's one of the biggest Kehlani fans ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the picture in this in the video too of them. She got to meet her. I was able to take her
Like my
to
biggest dream.
the Kehlani. Yeah, like I mean,
Yeah.
she was just like, oh, she got to take a picture with her, and she even got like the Tsunami Squad. Shout out to you, Tsunami Squads out there.
Yeah.
Only Kehlani fans know about that, right?
Yeah.
Got that tattooed on her and her.
Ooh, I gotta tell you all about my tattoo as well, because I have one dedicated to Kehlani too.
Really?
So yeah, I do. I'm kind of.
I gotta take a snippet of this and send it to Kehlani one day. I hope she sees it. Like, look at all the people you're inspiring.
No, but I think she really knows the impact that she has on her fans, and she knows how much she does, because she does it deliberately. You know, she really wants people to feel comfortable within themselves, and that's why I really love the song that I have a quote on my back. It's from her song called Bright. And the quote is, "A woman like the sun should always stay bright." So it's basically saying, you know, even when you go through those dark times, you know, you are still a beaming sun. You are still, you know, powerful, and you should always remember that.
That's 100%.
Right?
That's so good. That's
I love her. Yeah.
that's touching. And then you know, I always ask about, you know, favorite quotes and stuff.
Yeah.
That actually might be one, but I'm still gonna ask later on. You know, that's my staple question.
I got plenty of quotes, so it's fine.
Great. You know, so it's perfect. That was a good one though. So big shout out to Kehlani for inspiring many people like yourself, like my sister, like many others. Like, she is really doing the thing. She is awesome.
She really is. She really is.
Yeah, and I know you said, you know, Kehlani is a big influence on you as far as music, and then you mentioned Beyonce. Is there any other artist that's a big influence that you looked up to?
Yes, absolutely. So I was, when I started getting to music, like really finding my own style, it was very much so both new school and old school R&B. So one of the leading ladies of R&B will always be the wonderful Alicia Keys. I think she is brilliant, and we also talked about this because there was an interview, I think it's like over 8 months ago now, that Kehlani and Alicia Keys did together to like represent two different generations of R&B. And they just sat down and talked to each other and talked about the business and talked about what it was like to be a woman in, you know, sometimes a male dominated industry. And I've always just admired her way of doing things, because she's also very sometimes androgynous, and she's not afraid to explore different sides of herself, and she's not afraid to stand up for what she thinks is right. So musically, I was very, or also just as, you know, a person, I was very inspired by her, but also musically. I started off, when I started producing my own stuff, I was very heavily inspired by R&B. And I feel like you can feel that on my EP, A Lesson I've Learned. It's very like soft pop, but kind of R&B-esque vibes. But there is another artist I have to mention that is a Danish artist. I don't know if you've heard about him. He went kind of viral a couple of years ago with his song 7 Years. It's Lucas Graham.
Oh, cool. I think I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, I think the next single I'm going to release is very much so in that, like, I didn't know how to explain the genre when I talked to my brother earlier, but I think it's more of like a soulful pop music. So it's like a powerful vocal, but still kind of a poppy vibe. So I think that's I've also been listening to a lot more male singers, because I can go very low in my register when I sing. So I want to like explore not only the amazing riffs of Beyonce and the amazing, softness of Kehlani's voice, but I really want to go all the way around and have a nice palette.
Awesome. Just all well-rounded, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. That is so cool. And what advice would you give to someone that's a young person like yourself, or even if they're a little older and crowded their mind with the doubt or was scared to pursue music? Like, what would you say to that person?
Well, actually, it reminds me of because I was being driven by a cab, and he was very interested in my music, and he then told me that he was too old and he had kids and all that, so he didn't really have time, but he always wanted to pursue music. And then I told him about my dad, and my dad has always played music, but he didn't start releasing songs until he was 46, I think. So to especially like elder people, or not elderly people, older people.
Your dad's gonna see this and be like, "Oh, I'm elderly now."
I don't want to call my dad elderly. He's gonna do that.
You're like, we're gonna have to have a talk, young lady. Call me elderly.
So I'm taking that back. You can edit that out, right? So
I might keep it though. It'd be funny.
But especially for the older people, it's never too late. Especially if your kids are adults, you can have that time to really dive into what your dreams are. And for the young people, I just want to say that of course it's important to focus on school, but you also need to focus on what makes you happy and what drives you. You need to find something that feels like you're fulfilling your purpose. And if that is a creative route, like, don't let other people's doubts and your own doubts stop you from necessarily pursuing that. Because even though it's a hard business, if you have the drive and you have the willpower and you have somewhat talent, but my dad always says that music and everything else is 90% hard work and 10% talent. So
that is a good one. That right? I think I've heard that in sports before. That was good.
I think it's actually a sports quote, but it can be used in so many other aspects because when it comes to like being good at producing or performing, or nobody is just born with that. They really have to work towards something. And even if you have a talent, to really get to the bottom of that and get to your highest peak, you have to be willing to work really hard to achieve your dreams. So if you love something, I would say that you would just have to go for it and be aware that it's going to take a lot of hard work. Because some people think that being a artist is kind of like the easy way out, but it's not. I promise you, it is not.
One of the hardest ways out.
Right. I could have.
That's because even though I'm not like a artist as far as music, but just even like podcasting is a form of art itself too, especially being independent and doing everything you're I wish someone would say that to me. Like, say it to my face. Easy way out. I'm not a violent person like that, my peeps.
We do not support violence.
We do not support violence over here. Look away. Oh my goodness. I'm having too much fun right now, Laura.
That's good. I'm having fun too. So
true that.
It's not just me.
I know, right? So let's discuss your latest single, One Step at a Time. And the momentum is picking up. Like, I've seen you post on social media that it's been picked up by a couple of different radio stations and people sharing it and streaming it. Let's talk about that and what my peeps and world can expect from it.
Well, it's a very different song for me because has more of like an upbeat vibe. It's very like summer bop type of vibe, but it's still heartfelt. It's about two lovers who kind of are afraid to love again. And then from my perspective, I'm singing, one step at a time, boy, you got it. One step at a time, you're a diamond. Like, you can do this. We can like make it happen together, and we don't have to rush into things. We can just take things one step at a time.
Yeah.
And the love and the overwhelming like support that has gotten just really blew my mind. It was like I'm speechless just thinking about it, and very touched thinking about it, because I didn't expect it to like kind of blow up the way it did. Especially because it was the first song I released after my EP, and I wasn't really sure that it was like as good, and I was a little bit insecure about it, and then it just got a lot of success, and I was very happy about it.
Yeah, it's a really great song, and
Thank you.
like I said, your vocals are amazing. You know, and no matter which song of yours I've listened to, I'm just always just captivated, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I was actually listening to this morning when I woke up. I was listening to Joyride that you made, and I was like, I took my dog out, and I was just like, wow. Like, Laura's voice is just amazing. Like, like, wow, you know.
That's also one of my favorite songs to sing live, because it has so much like, I don't know, just life to it.
Yeah, like it's very like in a way like very inspirational, you know.
Yeah,
like gives you that like, you know, push, right? You know, like,
yeah.
and that's why I really love your music. Yeah, like a lot of your music is like that, and just I'm real excited to actually even talk about, you know, your next project that you're working on.
Yes,
you know, want to definitely talk about that. And you're going to release that on your 20th birthday, so
exactly.
you know, I'm excited for about that, and it's called Only Four, right?
Right. Yes, so, it is.
Let's talk about that and what the world and, you know, my peeps and new audience can expect from that.
Yeah, so this one is very, very different. So not only in the genre, you know, I talked about it being more of a soulful pop number, but I've never really delved into, you know, I have a lot of inspirational songs and also about hurt, but I've never delved into a lot of the trauma I experienced as a child. Mm-hmm. So the reason it's very important for me that it's, you know, going to be released on my 20th birthday is because it is 16 years ago I turned 4. And when I was 4 years old, my dad was wrongfully accused of sexual assault between me and my brother. And that led to us being taken away to an orphanage for 8 months. And at that orphanage, my dad has also wrote songs about this that are on Spotify. One in particular I would recommend checking out before you listen to Only Four, because it creates a lot of perspective. Mm-hmm. So it's called Bruno's Children, and it's about how we got taken away and how he felt about it. So you can kind of get his perspective. And
I'll definitely put the link in the description and in the video.
Yeah. So what he sings about in that song is that me and my brother had a lot of scars on our hearts and on our souls. And what I kind of delve into in that song is the insecurities and the pain that kind of stays with you when you've been through trauma as a kid. So this one is kind of it's obviously for everyone to listen to, but it's really for the people that think, not necessarily the people that don't think they can heal from trauma, but people who've been through things, mm-hmm. especially at a young age, and have realize what mark that can like leave in your heart and on your soul, and then what you have to be aware of when you grow older. Because what I also kind of explore in it is the desire to fit in, and the desire to be loved, and to try to fit yourself into a mold that you just don't fit in. And no matter how hard you try, you can't. I talked to my brother about this, because no matter how hard you try to be something you're not, you just can't, because you're always going to be yourself, and that's good enough, but you don't realize that, especially when you're so young. And I still catch myself sometimes trying to fit in, and then I remember that little girl I used to be. I remember what she went through and the love she didn't get, and then I say, okay, it's okay that I take care of myself, because she didn't get that help, but it's not too late for me, kind of like, that's the whole vibe of it. Yeah. So I have a lot of still unresolved trauma when it comes to being on that orphanage, because I have some scars on my body that will never, like, they won't leave. You know, it's 16 years ago and they're still there. But even more horribly, I still have scars in my mind and on my soul because of it. And I feel like it's important to embrace the feelings of, you know, sadness. I'm thinking of another music quote from Demi Lovato, their song Warrior, where one of the lines is what is it? It's something about the girl I used to be that I will never get back. You know, you will never be able to get the childhood that you probably deserve, but it's not too late for yourself to achieve your dreams. And that's also why I'm fighting so hard for this, because I know that I really wanted to do something. You know, when I got out of the orphanage, my dad told me later that I told him that he should make sure this never happens to any other children ever again. And obviously he can't do that, but he promised me that he would do his very best to make sure that some laws were changed so that it didn't end up happening as often. So my dad has actually been very involved in Danish politics the last 10 years, I think.
Wow, that's
because
amazing.
of it. Yeah, so he made a law, because the law that initially made me have to stay with my mother, who was very abusive, was because there was a law about having the parents' right to see their child. Otherwise, other than that, the law of having a child having a right to have sane parents. Does that make sense? Like, rather than focusing on the child's rights, it was focusing on the adults and parents' rights. So my dad really did a lot to get that law changed, and it changed, luckily. But there are still a lot of children in Denmark that are falsely, you know, taken away from their homes and placed in orphanages because, you know, some people are crazy and make up stories, and it's very unfortunate. But
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's, you know, just heartbreaking to hear that you went through all that pain and, you know, trauma as a child, and even as, you know, a little bit as a young adult. But I'm just so honored to have known you and talk with you, and to know that what this album is going to mean to you and to all your fans and new audience of the world, that you know, they could get a piece of, like, your life, your reality, the scars that you went through, but also know that, you know, because you're very inspirational, that better days are coming, you know, and to give them that hope, and to see, you know, where you're at now, and seeing how bright your future is, like where you can be. You know, I see a really big future for you. And yeah, I'm just, you know, so excited. Like I can't get my words out, just because I get excited when I think about, you know, where you're at right now and where you're going to be, because you have that much talent and that much drive and that much ambition. So all that pain and suffering you went through in life is not going to be for nothing. And one day you're going to look back and be like, wow, I can't believe I overcame that. And not only that, you're going to help impact and change many people's lives. Like you already touched my life, just, you know, me just talking about like what you've been through. Cause, you know, you don't know what people go through. You just looking at them, or you just, you know, you hear your songs and, you know, see you and you're just like, oh, this is a, you know, beautiful girl from Denmark who has a great voice, but to not know that, you know, you had, you know, the struggles you went through. So thank you for sharing that. Like, I truly appreciate that, and everything is going to work out. And I hope someone can get touched and inspired by that.
I really hope that it can inspire a lot of people too. And it already touched someone, because I sang it live at a cafe a couple of, like, a week ago, I think. Awesome. And it was a cappella, because the song is not complete yet, so I don't have, you know, the chords, so I had to sing it, you know, just my voice. But I sung it, and a girl said, or a woman, said that it it felt so profound, and it really touched her in her heart and in her soul, and that's all I want. And I'm also talking a lot about, you know, what it's about to the producer that's currently working on it, because I want him to really understand why it's so important that I get this one right. Because you have to, with the same thing about films, there's about music, you know, it can make you feel different things based on the tones and based on the vibes that are, you know, coming through it. And it's very important that you can feel, you know, those songs where you can almost feel the pain just by listening to the piano.
Yeah.
Like when you can, I really wanted that to be clear in this one. So I think it's going to be honestly my best song, which is saying a lot for me, because I already like the stuff I have out, but I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like I said, you got the support from me, the entire People's Choice family, and my peeps, because, you know, they normally love all my guests I get here. And they'll be crazy not to. Like, you know, like I remember another song of yours that captivated me when the guy I fell in love with. Like,
yeah,
I was like, wow, you know, like it's just something about you, man. You got that talent, that spark, that star, you know, like sky's the limit for you. I honestly believe it.
That means so much to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll go into my staple questions that I love to ask, because I just love the answers I get. So one of them is hidden talents. You're extremely talented in a lot of things. So what is a hidden talent, I should say, that your friends, family, or I'm gonna get it from fans, I'll say supporters, you know, don't know about you?
Well, I think that a lot of people don't know that I used to act. So I would say acting, because well, at least not, you know, people who listen to my music, they have no idea that I wanted to be an actor. So that would be secret for some people, but I don't really have any other like secret.
Who's one of your favorite actors like that kind of like inspired you?
I'm absolutely in love with Zendaya. I think she's incredible. And she just won an Emmy.
Yeah. I just seen that. Yep.
And it was like, she was the youngest person who's ever won that twice in a row, and that's just incredible. And she's the first Black woman, I think, to ever also win at such a young age. So like, that's just incredible to me. And I've always obviously followed her and watched her since she was on Disney Channel, because I was a kid when Shake It Up was on, which is kind of fun to like see somebody that you grew up with kind of like get so much success and get so much, like, you can see how much she's grown into herself and into womanhood and into just an amazing person. So I'd say her, definitely.
Awesome. That's really cool. And who knows, man, that, you know, opportunities open up a lot, especially when you put yourself out there. And, you know, I know a bunch of filmmakers and stuff. So who knows, maybe I could put the word in and be like, hey, so there's this amazing singer who wants to be an actor on the low. Like, it's, you know, like, and I could see you in films too. I think you'd be great.
Thank you.
Welcome. And another staple question I love to ask too is the quotes. I love quotes. I'm a quote guy. I mean, I got them tatted on me, and
me too.
You know, yeah, I know, right? You know, so quotes and sayings, you know, there's something about them that just get me through. So what is your favorite quote or saying that you lean on during the good times or the bad times?
Well, I already mentioned a woman like the sun should always stay bright. And I mentioned the you know, 90% hard work and 10% talent. But I think the one that I will carry with me the most is, I think it really is, I also have another tattoo that you can't see right now, but it's like on my, it's another lyric from, I'm very music obsessed, as you can tell.
Of course.
Of course, I'm a musician.
I know, right?
It would be weird otherwise.
I know, like I'm a musician, but I'm really obsessed with firefighting. I'm just playing.
No, but I don't know if you know Little Mix, you know, a British girl group that just went on a hiatus. They've been together for 11 years. So that's why I started listening to them when I was like 10 or something like that. So they also inspired me a lot. And their very first song called Wings has a line that is, wings are made to fly. So it's like the song is about, again, you know, people can tell you so many things and make you doubt yourself, but mama told me not to waste my life. Spread your wings, my little butterfly. Probably spread your wings, my little butterfly is my favorite quote, because, you know, you can go from being a little butterfly and then, or in a cocoon, and then spreading your wings and becoming something, you know, like you just said, you can see me having a bright future, you know, seeing that for yourself and kind of manifesting it and kind of saying to yourself, no matter what other people are saying, you know, my wings are made to fly. My wings are made, yeah, I would say wings are made to fly.
I love it. That's great. It almost reminds me of I literally just heard Steve Harvey say something similar to that, where my brother sent it to me. Shout out to my brother. But he was saying how like butterfly wings are some of the most beautiful, colorful wings to, you know, the outside eye, to any, you know, human. But a butterfly can't see their outside wings. They can't see how beautiful they are. But like when the butterfly opens their wings, they don't see it. So the gist of the quote basically he was saying is, spread your wings and fly, because even though you can't see that you have the most beautiful wings in the world, other people can, and they'll let you know that. So
yeah, that's incredible. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I had to really think about it, because I was like, wow, like butterflies really can't see their wings. Like they just see the inside, and the inside of the wings probably look like, so I'm trying to be a butterfly and fly, but you know, like, the inside of their wings probably look like, you know, just whatever. But yeah, so spread those wings and fly. I love that. So I just got a few more questions. Then, you know, we'll wrap up. I'm just been so honored to have you on the show. It's been a great conversation, so inspiring and motivational. Where can all my peeps and new audience find you on social media?
Okay, so on Instagram, it's at lauramena.music. And on Twitter, it's Laura Mena Music. So just with capital letters at every word. And on Facebook, Laura Mena, just straight out there. And on Spotify, also just Laura Mena. You can find my music on there and a lot of other streaming services. Awesome.
And you're also on YouTube too.
Yeah, on YouTube. That's right. Laura Mena, yeah.
And make sure you guys definitely check her out. You know, listen to her music. Follow her on Spotify. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. Message her. Tell her, hey, I love your interview. You know?
I would love messages. I always answer when people write to me, so I love that.
There you go. She's going to answer back to my peeps, so don't be shy now. So I just really love asking this question. I've been asking a lot lately, which is gratitude. And just asking my guests, you know, what are 3 things that they're grateful for in their life? Because, you know, life is crazy, between COVID to just people in the world that are freaking crazy, the heartbreaks that we've dealt with. I know me and you talked a lot off camera about, you know, the heartbreaks that I've had to deal with, and why I wear this, and how it fueled me. But also, you know, there's you know, beauty in the struggle, or beauty in pain, you know. So what are 3 things though that you're grateful for that keeps you grounded?
Is it okay that it's 3 people?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be people, places, things, and even if it's more than 3, I just say 3 normally, because that's a good number. Yeah.
Well, the first thing I'm eternally grateful for is my dad, because, you know, he's really, not only has he been an amazing influence on me, you know, musically and creatively, he has always supported me that way, but he's just such an incredible father. I know so many people that would have been in his situation that would have just dipped and would have said, I can't handle this. And yeah, I really appreciate him, and I will always be grateful for, you know, being blessed with a dad like that.
Shout out to you, Dad.
Yeah, he's incredible. He really is. And he was also really excited for me to be on the podcast. So
yeah, awesome. Hey, I'm gonna have to get Dad on the show.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would really be cool.
I have to send a message.
And the second thing, or the second person that I'm grateful for, is my brother. because, you know, we're twins, so we've experienced literally everything together. You know, we from the moment from the moment we came out of the womb, like we've literally been inseparable, and like we have so many things in common. And I just appreciate every conversation I have with him, because he's one of the most intelligent people I know. He's so enlightened and so incredibly emotionally like intelligent, which I really appreciate. And the third person is my boyfriend, Tristan. He's also helped me massively on my musical journey, and Hashjas is one of the best people I know. So yeah, that's like the three people I'm most grateful for.
That's awesome. And I want to give also a shout out to your brother too, because you know, we've talked a lot that he's into film, and he does a lot of your videos, and I love to put some in videos in the video for my peeps to see. And he is amazing. I know he said he's really just getting started with it. He's doing really well. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to you. Keep it going, brother. I'm real proud of you all over here from North Carolina, just seeing, you know, your amazing work, the work you do for your sister and helping her with her career. So big shout out to you.
He's going to appreciate that so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. And last not least, I always love to ask my guests if they want to give a shout out to, you know, everyone that's ever supported them or loved them, or any last message you want to give to the peeps before we wrap up.
I really want to take a moment and like, not only for the three people that I just mentioned, but for all the people that have not just reached out to me and told me they like my music, but for a lot of the bigger artists on Spotify that I've, you know, messaged and been like, I really love your work, and them just responding to me and listening to my work also, and being like, keep going, keep doing what you do. I really want to like express how grateful I am for that, because it's so, I feel like it's so rare that people in this industry like really recognize each other despite the numbers, you know, despite how many followers you have, and just recognize each other as people rather than numbers. So I would really say thank you to those people. And then some of the people that told me that I could sing when I sent the demo out, like from the very beginning, because I wouldn't be here without them at all. Mm-hmm. So definitely I'm grateful for those people.
Definitely shout out to all those people.
Yeah.
Big confidence booster, man, for real. Yeah. That support, man. It's real. So Laura, thank you again for being part of the People's Choice podcast, joining the People's Choice podcast family. I'm telling you, you have a really bright future. Be on the lookout for that album. Got my calendar already marked, November 4th. All my peeps, make sure you listen to it, stream it. What else? The word download everything, you know?
Yeah.
She's going to take you on a ride. It's going to be a great ride, though. And thank you again. Let me give you a clap. And
thank you.
Yes, definitely. And you are more than welcome. And also, Pops, I'm sending you a message. I'm going to have you on the show, too, man. Laura, you have a great one, okay?
You too.
Bye-bye.